everybody. This is episode 2 of Mandatory. I'm Nathan here with my co-host Jalil. Welcome to the Mandatory podcast on Alt Radio TV, the only alt-left radio network in the known universe. Let's get into the news.
Hello everyone. So we have a lot of news today, but first of all, I just want to start off with talking about a little statistic that I found, and it's really pissing me off. And this is about the Libertarian Party in the United States. The Libertarian Party was founded in 1971, and it stands for more or less libertarian principles. What do you think of the Libertarian Party, Nathan?
I don't follow them that much, really.
Yeah.
I'm little more of an outside observer on American politics, you might call me. I'm certainly interested very much in the Democratic and Republican parties because those are the only two that can win, of course. But yes,
Yeah.
I've heard small things about the the Libertarian Party, but not much overall.
Okay, so I'll just give you little tour about what they are. So, first of all, the Libertarian Party, what they believe in is libertarian principles, and the core foundation of libertarian principles is small government. All right, small government, no federal government, and they date back all the way to the foundation of the country when they were this side of people who were federalists who wanted a federal centralized democracy, and then there were those people who believed that there should be localized government with state rights. So libertarians fall on the latter category. They believe in state rights. So people just think that being a libertarian means that you have to there should be no regulation, there should be no government imposition on anything, and there should be no government funding for anything. So someone just posted a little chart about libertarianism, and what it says is that the Libertarian Party supports voluntary slavery. They support privatized prisons. They support no regulation on big pharma. They support no
Many of
government.
them do. I would say, especially in terms of the libertarian, the not the Libertarian Party, but certainly the more libertarian leaning Republicans in America, they do very much support zero regulation on
Yeah,
pharma.
yeah,
Zero government regulation on healthcare, especially, is something they're very vehement about.
yeah. I mean,
They're
like,
are very states' rights orientated, as you said.
yes, but there are people like Paul Ryan. They're not states right orientated. They just want to get rid of the regulations because there are lobbyists who tell someone like Paul Ryan, "All right, you just hide behind the libertarian facade, and what we're going to do is say that you're a libertarian, and that's why you got rid of the regulation, and that's why you're against the Affordable Health Care Act." So,
Yeah, and not because he wanted the kickbacks from the pharmaceutical industry.
exactly that is what he wanted. But in terms of libertarianism,
And
you know,
Hillary too, she was really in their
oh yeah,
pocket,
she
wasn't
she
she?
was
Like especially the oil, she was right up in there. All those speeches she had done for ExxonMobil, like, my God,
ExxonMobil,
it was
Goldman
it
Sachs.
was
Yeah,
disgraceful.
she was neck deep in their money. So yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Oh my God.
But in terms of the Libertarian Party, I think, the things that I just mentioned, voluntary slavery, no public schools, no Americans with Disabilities Act, and
I
no
I
safety
do disagree
regulation.
with for
Yes,
the record, I do disagree with public schools, but not for the same reason.
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with public schools to a certain extent. For public schools, as in till high school, I'm okay with that. So, but
I
the
don't I don't necessarily disagree with using tax money to fund like freely available schooling, but what I do not support is federally controlled,
Yeah,
federally funded public
yeah,
schooling, because
yeah, like,
they get things like the No Child Left Behind Act in America, where basically a school, like, they have all these standardized tests, and the schools that do bad on these tests get defunded, making them
yeah,
have even worse test scores next year. And especially because I ran into this time and time again in the Australian schooling system when I went through it some years ago, is that um, the teachers are not allowed to teach the students the way they know the students are meant to be taught. They have to teach to the test, to the curriculum, to the syllabus, to the things they've been told to teach. And one standard deviation is just too much. And I think, in my opinion, it's destroying modern schooling, because teachers can't take an individual approach to each student and to teach them properly and to keep them engaged and interested. They have to spout this dreck that's been handed down to them from up on high. Whether it's statistically, like, it's in the book, sure, but they're not teaching it the way these kids are going to remember. They're saying, okay, just read this until you know the number, fuck what it means, and just write it down when the test asks what the
yeah.
number is.
Yeah, exactly, and but that that's the same problem that the Americans had with Common Core and everything. But that's the thing about libertarianism. What I believe is that states should have the right to regulate and control public schools, because when you take it to a federal level, then there are going to be states that are going to be left behind. But then again, with states' rights, there are problems, like you see in Mississippi in America, which is probably which is their most illiterate state, and you go to
It
Mississippi.
it's 49th, isn't it?
Yeah,
I didn't think it was dead last. It was 49th in education.
yeah, but the
Or that
thing
might
but
have
thing is,
been Louisiana, but yeah, continue.
yeah, but the things there are very bad, because there's no healthcare and anything else, and people have these weird teeth, and the way they talk and everything. They just it's just disgusting the way, like, you
W-
say America, and then you go to California and it's amazing beaches and all that, and then you go to Mississippi and you feel like you've come to a third world country.
Yeah, America does certainly get a lot rougher as you go inland, and yeah,
Exactly.
those southern Bible Belt states are just,
Oh,
yeah, that hillbillies, rednecks. Yeah, we have people like that out here in Australia all the time. Except the difference is ours are called bogans, and they live a little closer to the town, so we have to deal with them a bit more. They're the sort of guys you see walking around with like a 6-inch mullet, singlet, board shorts, and we call them thongs in Australia, but they're also known as flip flops. Those sandals with the one thing that goes between your toes, and they walk around like that.
so I think at the end of the day, we can say that libertarianism does sound appealing. When someone like Ron Paul comes on stage and says, we're going to stop wars, and you see a Republican that's actually smart. All right. So
I- I'm
that's what.
certainly I'm certainly libertarian leaning. Like I'm
Yeah.
more libertarian than I am authoritarian, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
in
classify
in
myself
in
as a
that sense,
libertarian.
I'm completely libertarian, because I hate authoritarianism, right? Because I'm also a big I'm very anti neoliberalism, so that's why I'll never identify myself as an authoritarian. But the Libertarian Party does has have some some good principles that you can follow, but
Th- They're
overall.
certainly they're certainly more principled than the Republican Party or the Democratic
Yeah,
Party in the United
yeah,
States.
Like
as
the
choices go, they're probably the better of three evils, I suppose you could call them.
Yeah, yeah, obviously, but people just like to make things up, like saying that they want privatized prisons. That's just coming from the fact that libertarians are pure capitalists, so they
Well,
won't
America
mind.
does have privatized prisons, and
Yeah, it already
I
does.
think
It
it's
already
one
does.
of
There are a lot of
I
them.
I th- I think it's one of the worst things about the United States, because like it's undeniable that a lot of these, a lot of the lobbyists, a lot of the people in Congress, they have sway within creating a lot of the laws that have people sent to jail the most. Specifically, petty drug crime is of course one of the biggest ones, and they get money either through shares or stocks or something probably illegal. They certainly do get money back from paying into these private prisons by sending them more people to incarcerate.
Exactly, exactly. That's one of the main reasons. And but it's a really good proposition to have libertarianism. But I don't think that libertarianism is something that can be used as an effective form of government.
Yeah, I don't believe well, I can't say there would be no country, but I don't believe my country could be run under pure libertarianism. I don't
Oh,
believe America
never.
could, even though they certainly try. They try as hard as possible to get as little regulation out of that fucking government as they can.
Anyway, so let's jump into some news for the day. And so, there have been some protests and controversies in Trump's inauguration as of late. So, as he prepares to be sworn into office, his inauguration festivities could be marred by scandals and protests. It's just one more way that Trump's election is a break from the past. Like, do you think people should still be protesting him? Like, what's the point?
Um, I I think it's disgraceful. I think I I don't think I can understand them protesting a democratic election.
Yeah,
Before Trump won,
yeah,
Hillary was pretty much dead to rights. Everyone was, Hillary's gonna win. It's President Clinton. She's this time next year. It's gonna be a woman in the White House. Everyone was so sure of it, and they all
yeah,
said when the election results come out on November 8th, Trump needs to accept them because they will be for the person we
exactly,
wanted. And it came out
exactly.
for the person they didn't want. Same results, same
Yeah,
metrics, same data. It was the same vote, but it
exactly.
came out
And
for the one they
and
didn't want. So they shit their fucking pants.
and you know what? I'm fucking glad that Trump won, because you know what's going to happen? These liberals are going to be crying their fucking hearts out for the next 4 years, and they're going to hate
I,
every
I
fucking
agree.
second of
I
it.
agree.
They're going to hate
The
every fucking second of
SJWs.
it.
But also, do you think it's a bit empowering as well? Because like the SJW class, of course, they absolutely thrive on victimization, and now that they are again the victimized class because the person in office absolutely does hate them and does not stand in solidarity with them, that they're just going to use this to strengthen themselves and possibly even multiply.
Exactly. Like, and you know what? I'm going to jump into some Muslim news for now. I don't know why, but I think this is important for us to
Yeah, well,
read. Okay,
you
let's
you live in
jump.
Pakistan.
Yeah, let's. I just always hate talking about this kind of stuff. But anyways, so this is from RT Russia Today. And this was published on the 19th of January, yesterday. UK media accused of consistent stream of negative and inaccurate reporting about Muslims. And they go on to say, in a personal campaign for fairer coverage, one man has exposed scores of articles in the British press to misrepresent Muslims or Islam. Since undertaking the project, Mikdad Versi, I think that's a Greek name or something, the Assistant General Secretary for the Council of Britain, has forced newspapers to make 20 retractions and corrections. A further 20 are currently under investigation by the press complaints body IPSO. One story, Versi corrected, had appeared in the Rupert Murdoch owned Sun last week. The Sun is also famous for covering up what happened at Hillsborough. Anyway, the tabloid ran with the headline.
Well, Rupert Murdoch himself is famous for a lot of controversy, isn't he?
Yeah, the name itself is enough. Anyway, so
He's Australian actually. He came from this scummy place.
no, really, I, he,
Yes,
so,
Rupert Murdoch was originally Australian.
but he is Jewish, right?
I don't know actually. I don't think he is.
Oh, I don't know it, but it's just because he's rich and very powerful. That's why.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
you get that. Yeah, I understand.
yeah, but at the end of the show, we are going to be hitting another more controversial topic. But for now, let's go
Yeah, not a
see.
problem.
Okay, so the tabloid ran the headline "Supermarket Terror" in uppercase letters. Gunman screaming "Allahu Akbar" opens fire in Spanish supermarket while carrying bag filled with petrol and gunpowder. Okay, that was the news story. All right. Okay, after a denial by local police that the gunman had shouted "Aloha Snack Bar," the line was altered to the line was altered to "Supermarket Horror." Gunman opens fire in Spanish supermarket while carrying bag filled with petrol and gunpowder. So they just added the "Aloha Snack Bar" just without any evidence.
just just to subtly imply, well, not subtly, but you get what I mean, just to make sure you knew he was a Muslim.
Yeah, just yeah, just putting in subtle hints. You have to know that who he was. All right, he wasn't
So
he
has
wasn't
someone
one of us.
actually, sorry, so like has someone actually seen the footage and confirmed that he actually did not say it?
Yeah, the what's it called? IPSO, who are the press investigators and journalistic ethics committee. They did the investigation, and then the local police. That's what's written. After a denial by local police that the gunman had shouted "Allah Akbar," the line was altered. Like so, the local police denied it as well. So, but
Okay, so that,
this
yeah, we
this
we had
this
an
is
official
this.
police report. Awesome.
So, like, I mean, we can talk about radical Islam all the time, and we do talk about it, but there is discrimination as well. Like, there's a boxer Anthony Joshua targeted by wild troll abuse after posting pictures of mosque prayers. So, I mean, they were trolls, so what does he expect? But, yeah, I don't think it's worth
um
covering, but yeah,
no,
because.
I well well Well, see, you and the American media probably have a different standard for, what's worth covering, because, they have a
Yeah,
very vapid 24-hour, 7-day a week news cycle where there's a 6 o'clock news every day, and
yeah.
if there's no news, they just make some up. And it used to be like, it's a slow news day, we'll just find something, we'll play some slow news material, like, oh, some kid lost a puppy and the fire department found it, something like that. But now
Yeah.
they just make something up about Muslims.
But you know what? Now I want to get into something that's really, really fucking scary. Have you heard of
All right, go
Geert
ahead.
Wilder? Geert Wilder's. Have you heard of him? Geert,
Gert
Geert
Wilder?
Wilders. Yeah, Geert Wilder.
No, I haven't. Tell me about him.
Okay, so he's this politician in he's in the Netherlands, and he's the head of the right wing Dutch Freedom Party. That's an ironic name, and he
The
launched a
right
new.
wing Freedom Party.
So it's called that's what it says, right wing Dutch Freedom Party. Anyways, he launched a new manifesto that calls for the de-Islamization of the Netherlands as he heads into the polls to become the next prime minister. So, titled "The Netherlands is Ours Again," Wilders published the one-page, 11-point screed on Thursday, highlighting the party's hard-line position on Islam. Okay, so here's
So,
what
so
it
what does
is.
he? So, what does he mean about? Just can you explain this to me? What does he mean about de-Islamization?
So he
What's
like posted a full manifesto about how he's going to do it, like getting rid of it.
so no,
So
but like, so can you summarize for me? Like, does he mean set the country in a cultural direction that does not include Islam, to be racist towards Muslims, to shut them out of their country? What's he driving at here?
no, he just wants he says that he wants to close all mosques, Islamic schools, a ban on the Quran, no more immigration from Muslim countries, a ban on Muslim headscarves in public was also proposed, and as well as a prohibition of all Islamic expressions which violate public order. And like and man, this is going into Nazi territory, like when you
Yes,
say bans
in some circumstances, I can understand the curtailment of immigration from the Middle East, because
yeah,
it's a risky thing. You might,
yeah,
that they're doing these things out of the kindness of their hearts, and they're taking in all these people who are low chance but could possibly kill them. And it happened at least once in France, as we know.
not
And I
once, three
can I can
times.
understand them. Well, yeah, I was just saying it at least once, that one during the Eagles of Death Metal concert, that I could think of off the top of my head. But so I can understand there being apprehensive about taking on more Muslim immigrants. But again, as I'm a vehement protector of free speech, it's my most upheld belief. I can't in good conscience support the banning of any book, of any speech,
Yeah,
of
do
any
you know who
kind
used to
of
burn
teaching.
books?
The
You
Nazis.
do remember? Yeah, the Nazis and
Well,
Pinochet also burned.
Islamic extremists burn books too, but
Yeah, exactly.
uh, being intolerant of intolerance is not tolerant.
I think
It's not
this guy
tolerant to be
should
intolerant of intolerance.
I think this guy should run for the to become the prime minister of the Islamic State.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Like, I mean, imagine how pissed off his party would be if I was his opponent and I won. I would say, okay, let's turn this monumental building of the main parliament into a mosque, the Dutch parliament into a mosque. Let's make sure that all the
Yeah, well,
prostitutes
like,
have to just to piss him off,
build turn the courtyard into a recreation of that big stone in Mecca.
Exactly, exactly. Mecca 2.0 in now in Amsterdam.
Excellent. Yeah, and everybody can go there and smoke weed and worship Allah.
Okay, anyways, continuing with his bloody manifesto. I can't believe he actually called it a manifesto. This guy's really nuts.
Well, you have to admit that after all of the school shootings in recent history, the term manifesto has somewhat of a tarnished reputation.
Exactly.
Before each of these large killings, there's a manifesto released. So now we've been trained by the media to associate manifesto with serial killer or spree
Exactly.
killer at least.
Exactly. Okay, anyways, continuing, it also targets the European Union with the party promising to hold a referendum on the country's membership in the EU. The PVV is also calling for spending to be increased in the areas of policing and armed forces, while they want no more money for foreign aid, windmills, art, innovation, public broadcasters. What the fuck? What do windmills have to do with anything? What?
Windmills are a big part of the power generation over there.
What?
They they
No.
they have these giant electric turbines that pick up
Yeah,
wind
yeah,
power
I
and
know
power their houses.
they make a lot of renewable energy, but what he's writing is they want no more money for foreign aid, windmills, art, innovation, public broadcasters. Like no more money for windmills. What did
Yeah,
the
they
what did the windmills ever
because
do?
so
Are
the
are
windmills
the windmills
the
some kind of
windmills aren't they're not friendly to his likely ties to the big oil industry. You know, that's the bottom line of it is that for whatever reason or another, sometimes it's just pride in the past that Republicans tend to hate renewable power sources
oh
and
yeah,
just
oh yeah.
that they hate energy efficiency. It's
It's
unbelievable.
so
Like,
it's obvious.
do you remember when energy efficient light bulbs came out? You know, the ones that have got like the twirl of a fluoro tube?
Yeah, we
That
have them here. We call
all
them
the
energy
Republicans
savers.
were up in an outroar. They're like, I'm gonna use the energy inefficient ones. It's like, why? You know, it's saving you money. Who gives a fuck that the glow is slightly off? You know?
Yeah, we only use those, and we call them energy savers, and those are the only ones that we use here. Because they're pretty efficient and they take up very little. Okay, anyways,
person
continuing.
Personally, I'm years ahead of all you motherfuckers. The light in my living room is a 5 meter strip of LEDs running along my ceiling.
Holy fuck. Anyways, continuing with his manifesto before he goes off shooting a mosque. Anyway, Wilder's plans have been described as utterly bizarre and unbelievable. Thank God someone
No
spoke some
shit.
sense. Thank God someone spoke some
Yeah, no
sense.
shit, right?
Is this guy mentally apt to be running a country? Well, we should have.
Who? But tell me, who on earth would be mentally apt to run a country and be insane enough to win an election?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's mentally apt to run
Yeah, he's
America.
not. He's not
You
at
know,
all. He's a fucking dumbass.
but you know, you rarely get it that someone who would actually be good at public office would ever get near it. Like, you know, we saw that with
Yeah,
Bernie Sanders. He's probably the
yeah,
person who made it the furthest, you know, like he was there, he was up on this pedestal, you know, everybody loved him. And then the DNC was like, nope, fuck you. We want
fuck
our
off. Yeah,
corporate demagogue who, you know, rolls in oil money and blood diamonds.
yeah. Anyways, so let's see. So let's see what people think of his plan. Whitelist plans have been described as utterly bizarre and unbelievable by the leader of the Christian Democratic Appeal, Cybrant van Harsma Buma. The program will further polarize Dutch society. Wilders, who has twice appeared in court for inciting hatred, in both 2011 and in 2016 will emerge as the biggest party following March's election, if the opinion polls are to be believed. There is a catch though, with most parties stating they won't go into coalition with Wilders. So, like most parties are against him. But Wilders,
Well, you
who
would
has
hope so.
often Okay, Winters, who has often been compared to U.S. President Donald Trump for both their shared hairstyle and immigration policies, attended the four-day U.S. Republican Party convention. Okay,
Well,
so yeah, they.
I wouldn't say that, in relation to his immigration policies, because, Donald Trump is
Yeah,
dealing with these Mexicans who he thinks are an issue. And, I think even you can agree with me that radical Islamic extremism slowly seeping into Europe is a bit more of a
not
pressing
slowly, really
issue
quickly. Especially
than.
with the refugees, it's going in very quickly.
Well, yeah, but I think you can agree with me that, radical Islamic extremism flooding into Europe is probably a much more pressing issue than, Mexican immigrants illegally coming over the U.S. border. Like, what damage are they doing? I know they are doing damage to the economy. They work for $4 an hour and take money away from people who the businesses would have to pay more. But of course, they are causing damage, but they're not blowing anybody up. So I don't think it's fair to compare pretty much basic economics to like an actual threat of your people could be killed.
And he has a big chance of becoming the prime minister. So that's really scary. But what, I thought people in Netherlands were supposed to be chill. What the fuck is wrong with them?
I don't know. I can't be, I can't be hypocritical here. I'd be scared too. If I lived in a Nordic country like that, so close to the Middle East with this massive immigrant crisis, I'd be scared too, and I'd be willing. I'm sure if I weren't so politically aware that I too could be tricked into voting away my freedoms in the name of safety. That's how tyrants come into power every time.
Yeah, but I think there are right-wing politicians who are dealing with this refugee and migrant problem pretty well. Like you look at Le Pen in France. She's pretty logical, and she's a pretty logical candidate, and she's a good candidate for the right wing. Trump himself, I
Do you
think.
have just I'm just curious. The person you mentioned there, do you have any specific examples of her immigration policies?
So she's mainly she's against the large numbers of refugees pouring into France, and
Yeah,
she wants to
but not
relocate.
not so concerned with the fact that they're Muslims.
No, she doesn't just mention that. Okay, they're Muslim. Like she doesn't have a bloody manifesto like this guy does.
Yeah,
And
no, she's not like I hate Muslims. I want to keep them out of my country. I'm gonna build a wall.
build a wall, build a wall. They're
Yeah.
rapists.
Let's see this guy build. If he builds a wall around Switzerland, he'll have my support.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
just just because of how funny that will be. I don't agree with him politically. He has my support if he puts the work in to build a wall around Switzerland. But it has to be at least 10 feet tall, and it has to have been built at least partially by Mexicans.
And paid for by the Swiss.
Of course. No.
Okay.
We'll make the Afghanis pay for it.
Yeah, they are steamrolling in cash right now. Anyways, let's this is the last this is
Yeah, well,
the
so's Mexico.
Okay, this is the last story before our politically incorrect segment starts. So, okay,
What? Wait,
here's the question.
we weren't meant to be politically incorrect until now. Shit.
Yeah, this was us being politically correct. The next segment is where shit gets out of hand. Anyways, so
Shit gets real.
it gets real. Anyways, there's a question on RT. I don't know why I only use RT for our news source, but I think the main reason is because
Yeah, maybe we need to find a couple more sources because I'm if this podcast actually has any viewers, I'm sure at least half of them are screaming at the screen saying, "You morons! Russia today is like fucking garbage for this party or this party, or they're in the
No, no,
pocket of
no.
these peoples and these peoples."
Russia today is the best website there is, and they're going to help make sure that the Kremlin infiltrates the White House, and then we can name the White House and the Pentagon Kremlin 2.0 and Kremlin 2.1.
Yeah, and then Trump will just be a figurehead, and our real ruler will be Vladimir Putin.
Yes, and the thousand-year
I
comradeship will begin.
oh yes,
Thousand years,
the 1,000 year comradeship. Yes, and
the thousand
we will
years
all
of
get
so.
together and we will all get together and proudly sing Soviet music.
Yeah, the thousand-year Soviet Union. Anyways,
The
this is a
empire.
question for this is a question for Barack Obama. Has any other Nobel Peace Prize winner dropped 100,000 bombs?
Uh, I can't tell you.
From what I know, Gandhi loved dropping bombs. You know, he would
Reminds
get
me
right.
of Did you ever play that game Civilization? It
Yeah, I
was
did.
a turn-based strategy game, and
Yeah,
in I think it was in the first game there was a glitch. So Gandhi's aggression level was set to -1, and because the lowest unsigned integer is 0,
yeah.
-1 became 255. So when finally put up against Gandhi, he was a ruthless nuclear warlord.
Yeah, but I think in terms of Nobel Peace Prize winners, I think Gandhi used to get pissed off at night, having a few Budweisers, and then he would get into his F-16 and just, bomb some, you know,
Just kill some white
Somalians.
Christian babies.
Yeah, well,
Just
kill
fly
some
to
Christians.
America and kill some white Christian babies.
Yeah, tell them we don't.
He
He
could
said
have he could have killed a puppy on video and no one would have cared.
Yeah, that's what he said. I could rape I could rape Princess Diana in the middle of Trafalgar Square, and people would still love me. They would make the video. They would sell it.
Because
It would
I'm
become the
Gandhi.
it would become the greatest porn film ever. It would
It's
have
so
thought millions.
terrible. Like I know Mahatma Gandhi like was not as good of a person as he's often thought of, but to compare him to Donald Trump is just cruel.
That's what he said. Hey, look, I could molest the royal baby in front of Trafalgar Square, and people would laugh at me. People would cheer at me. They love me. Everyone loves me. Everyone loves me.
They
Everyone loves
love
me.
me. Okay,
Anyway,
so should we
so
move on
we
to politically incorrect?
okay. So in terms of politically incorrect, I want to talk about a question that a lot of people like to avoid because they think it's anti-Semitic. But I'm going to ask that. What are your thoughts on the Jewish question?
I'm anti-Semitic as fuck.
Yeah,
No,
what are your thoughts on it?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know. I suppose I'm such a I'm so against identity politics that I try not to think about whether or not someone is Jewish.
I think the
You know,
Jewish
that
question.
there aren't that many of them.
Exactly.
Like
But
how many Jews are left in the world? Like 12 million.
14
There
million.
there are there are less people than that in Australia. No, wait, there are more people.
14
Sorry, there are more
million.
people than that in Australia. Yeah, there are about 20 million people
Dude,
here.
there are more people than that in New Delhi, and New Delhi is just a city. There, are
Well,
there,
yeah, pretty tightly packed there though. Like, you know, how many people, you know, per thousand square feet are there in New Delhi? You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah, that's
um
also something to to think about. Anyways, but I think
yeah, to be
I
like the central business district of Tokyo versus like rural Wyoming.
yeah, Wyoming. Paul Ryan's from Wyoming. Did you know? No, he's from Wisconsin.
Uh,
Sorry.
I'm not
He's
surprised. They're all hick towns, but you know, there are less than a million people in the entire state of Wyoming.
he's from Wisconsin. I forgot. I
Yeah,
misspoke.
Wisconsin's trash as well.
Wisconsin is a southern state, right? Southern state, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Anyways,
I
I
think
think
it's more. I haven't done my geography in a while. I think it's more Midwest, but yeah, it is one of those more like hillbilly Southern type states.
exactly. Anyways, so uh, talking about the Jewish question, I think it shouldn't be called the Jewish question. It should be called the Zionist question because uh, what these people want is that they think that they are the chosen people and there's
Well, who
uh
doesn't?
no, like
You
they
know,
say that
everyone's got that like I'm the best, you know. But yeah,
no,
I do agree that on the subject of Zionism that there are plenty of American Christians who either view the Jews as either God's chosen people or simply feel sorry for them, you know, for what happened in the 40s.
yeah, but I think looking for putting that aside, if we talk about it from today's point of view, so like they are expanding and expanding and expanding their settlements. So I'm not sure when is it going to stop. Like, is there an end goal for them? Do they want to take over all of the Middle East? Because that's going to be difficult because there are only 14 million of them after all.
Yeah, and half of those live in the United States. There are about 6 million in Israel,
Yeah,
about
it's
six
four.
million in the USA. You know, so you know, I don't really know what to think about Israel. I think the best summation of my views is that they shouldn't have gone there in the first place, but now that they're there, it's
I,
kind of theirs
I,
now.
yeah, I don't know why they were let into that area in the first place. No, like the Western powers had no right to let them go move into that area. It's not their area, and they lived in Europe. They lived in the U.S. And if the U.S. Want to talk to us about how they were just refugees and we should have let them in, then why did FDR turn away a ship full of 39,000 Jews? Why did the European countries turn away those ships? Because they
I
didn't
don't know.
want
Why did they?
because they didn't want to take care of them. They thought they were someone else's problems.
Yeah, well, now the Americans certainly don't think Jews are someone else's problem. You know, the millions in tax money they fund into paying for like just the
Yeah,
Israeli military's anti-missile system costs millions in American tax dollars yearly.
and let me tell you something. Uh, e- Everything that the Jews have in Israel is bought and paid for with the U.S. The U.S. dollars.
Yeah,
And
American money or American lives.
And exactly. And let me tell you one thing. The next time some Republican says free college, oh, how are we going to pay for that? Free this, how are we going to pay for that? I don't know, dipshit.
Stop paying for
Why don't you stop pay?
Israel.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you stop funding them? Who the fuck are they? Your second cousin? Or who the fuck are they to you? Just stop funding
Oh no,
those.
we feel sorry for them about the Holocaust.
Yeah, have you ever felt sorry about the Armenians who died in the Armenian genocide? Maybe all the 30 million
No one
Ukrainians,
remembers the Armenian genocide.
and especially not the young Turks.
That
Um,
they don't. Yeah, nobody likes to talk about the Armenian genocide
no, but exactly. Then that it never happened in their
because
little
it's
thought.
like because the Holocaust in the 40s gives a very special protected it it gives the Jews a very protected sort of feel about them to the American people, and they sort of like, yeah, it happened to the Armenians, but so what?
Yeah, and I just the only hope for the world is that, maybe the next prime minister of Israel would be someone from the who would be from the left party or center left party, so that things can move along better. What do you think?
I think as long as there is so much instability in that region, a lot of this stuff is pretty much inevitable. And
But this
as much as
instability
it
is
pains me
caused
to say
because,
it,
look,
I don't
look,
think there is a
the
very
thing
short
is,
term solution. Yeah,
and
continue.
this is pretty simple. Um, the Palestinians have always been there. Okay, the Jews,
Yep.
they have not always been there. They came over, they took the land that was not supposed to be theirs. All right, even if they're just bought all of them and moved into a small town, it would not have been theirs. It's not their land. They do not belong in the Middle East. The Middle East has been ruled by the Arabs for years and years and years. Even when
Yeah,
Alexander
but
came through
like
that,
you know, land changes hands all the time.
yeah, but
I
the way
I
it
think
does is
that's
different.
like what I was like. I have to speak in a little devil's advocate sort of position here
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm Australian and we took our land on in no uncertain terms, pretty much the worst way possible. Like we attempted to genocide an entire race of people, and we're terrible to the Aborigines. And I take no personal culpability in that because I wasn't alive during that time.
Yeah, of
No shit,
course.
right? But I don't believe that I owe the land my house is on to the Aboriginal people who may have lived here, a thousand years
But the
ago,
thing
just
is,
because my ancestors took it from their ancestors.
like, they didn't take it. They just moved in and said, okay, they washed their hands clean and they said, okay, we are going to live here now. Like, so imagine if today the Syrians say that, okay, just give us a small portion of land in the middle of Western Europe and we are going to make our own country there. How are the Europeans going to feel?
Just let them have California.
Yeah.
I yeah, because the Jews are very very welcome in Hollywood, very welcome indeed.
Yeah, just send them away. And look, I don't hate the Jews, but stay.
South Beach, Boca, all of those really nice coastal places. You go to Florida. That would be
Yeah,
even better. Florida and California, they got they plenty of places to take in all those people. But you can. But then you have to look at it from a bit more of bit more seriously. Like that's where people live.
Yeah, exactly.
And ideally the ideal solution would involve uprooting no one. If we could
Exactly.
just have all these peoples live alongside one another, but I think both sides have shown that's not really the intent. The
Exactly.
the intent is me, whoever me is, the intent
Yeah.
is for either side to be in control. Someone needs to figure out how to get everybody to lay down their guns and say, okay, let's try and live peacefully here. But that's been the Middle East crisis for how long now? Nobody's figured it out yet.
Exactly. Exactly. I just hope they get out of there, because if they don't, it's going to be fucking terrible. And if war breaks out, through which country are the US going to send their troops there? Through Turkey? The Turkey are not going to be Turkey are not going to Turkey are never going to support Israel. Okay, neither are the Central Asian countries, because a lot of them are Muslims
Tu-
as well.
and isn't Turkey a US ally?
It is a US ally, but look, Pakistan is also a US ally, but we hate Israel. Okay, so the US
Yes,
is allies with
and
everyone.
Saudi Arabia as well.
Yeah, and Saudi Arabia. So if the is if the if the Israelis are over their head, thinking that the US are going to support them, whatever the cost. You know what? If shove comes to turn and a war breaks out, it's going to be a long time before the US get their troops into the area. And believe me, if the Arab armies annex Jerusalem, it's not going to take them long before they execute almost everyone there, because
Yeah, they are going to
they hate Jews.
kill
Yeah,
that they are going to kill the bulk of the people they're going to kill before the US gets there.
exactly. So that's why I think on the in the
And see,
lo-
that's why the United States funnels so much tax money into Israel to keep,
yeah.
pretty much for the upkeep of the Israeli military and all their equipment.
Yeah, you know what? The next time some American says, "Why can't I have free health here?" Say, tell them,
Yeah,
because we have to
because
take care of
because of
Israel.
Israel.
Because we have to take care of
Yeah,
Israel. They're more important.
and
Well,
honestly, it's and you say that as a joke, but there are some Republicans who I think you could get to say that unironically. Like we don't pay your healthcare money because so much of our taxes. We love Israel. All that money needs to go to
yeah,
Israel, so we can't pay your taxes. You lazy worm. We
exactly.
we
Well,
can't pay
yeah,
your medical fees. And they
exactly.
love that they love that narrative too, the
Yeah,
Republicans especially, like people working 3 jobs and still don't have enough money to hold themselves up, and these rich people who are from a legacy or run some super easy job, calling someone who works 80 hours a week a fucking waster.
exactly. Yeah, that's the Republicans' job. That's what they do. That's what they're for. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today's episode of the Mandatory
You want to
Show.
wrap up the show?
Yes, we should. I think we should wrap it up.
All right.